Thanks so much for joining us. This is a MeWe Awakening panel. We have events throughout the Northwest and online. In the Northwest, we're currently in Seattle, Portland, Salem, and Eugene. And then online, we've been running fairs and having panels and other events for a year and a half. We're excited that so many more people are joining us online now. So tonight's theme on the panel, we have 4 practitioners on the panel. It's animal communication, animal spirits, and guides. There are 3 practitioners that specialize in this that are here to answer your questions on that topic. And then we're also available to answer questions on really just about any topic. So there's just, if you want to learn more about what we do and find us online, we're at MeWe Fairs on MeWeFairs.com. That's MEWEFAIRS.com. So we'll go through and have the practitioners introduce themselves and share a bit about themselves and their work and how they'll do readings tonight, how they generally do sessions and work with people outside of this event too. And maybe a little of how they got started doing their work and just some general context about working with animals and all of the experience that humans have with animals. All right, great. And feel free to share too how people can connect with you. All right, great. So who would like to share first? Could be the same orders before or different. Okay, great.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Dr. Jim, and I'm a microbiologist who worked with microbes to clean up rivers. I was very blessed that these microbes and I had a special communication that transcended just the laboratory. So I work with the animal spirit guides of the spirit of the microbe. So basically a microbe is a living creature that's too small to see without the use of a microscope. And there are so many wonderful microbes that don't cause disease. I know a lot of us are thinking about that virus right now, but there are trillions and trillions of microbes that are good for our planet and good for ourselves. And they keep us clean, they recycle toxic waste. But guess what? These microbes, these trillions of microbes have superpowers. They can help us live better lives and in harmony with nature and with our bodies. So like bigger animals, these microbes have powerful lessons to teach us too. I consider them like elementals, fairies, nature spirits. They're tiny, but they make their presence known in so many ways. They keep our bodies and our world fresh and pure. Now, my background, when I was introduced to or animal guides in general, I was beginning to dream animals, the larger ones. I actually dreamt a prehistoric animal, and I worked with some shamanic practitioners about 20 years ago when I was doing my lab work. And I actually became an animal guide reader with the larger animals, the Jamie Sams, David Carson card deck that you might know of. And then 7 years ago, I created 44 paintings representing the archetypes of all the microbes that are good for our environment and exist in our world. And these are the cards that I created from those 44 paintings. I meditated on each of these microbes to ask them for spiritual guidance, and based on their unique ways of surviving and thriving in the environment, they have messages to give us. So I now call myself an intuitive microbiologist because I can open up the portals of communication with these microbes using my deck of 44 original oracle cards. I have truly experienced their powerful presence and their wisdom. And so from my own experience with them, I know I can give you wise guidance by channeling them, and they can answer some important questions. So what my process is I mix the cards, I listen to your question, then I just open myself up and become a channel to allow the guides to show me the microbe spirit guide that has a specific message for you. I don't know if you want me to share the access to me, Lorelei?
It's okay. Most of the people that are here right now can get it in the chat, so we're probably okay.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. You can find me at microbewhisperer.com.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's great. I mean, let's see, maybe I have some questions too. So are there particular types of questions that people come to you with?
Me?
Yes.
People can ask questions about something that's going on with their emotional life or their career or their relationships. All of these questions are answered by a specific microbe type. So it is very interesting the way it works. I mean, the first kind of reading I do is who's your microbe, because it is unusual for people to work with a tiny, tiny animal guide like this one. So who's your microbe, which is a 10-minute reading for $10, not today, but you know, when I give my readings, at fairs and things like that, I give a who's your micro reading, and it's usually spot on. And the who's your micro reading is usually the micro guide that wants to be with that person in that part of their life. And it seems amazing that it answers their question. And usually in my process, I don't hear a person's question. I have them mix the cards, put their energy into it, and then I am guided to that. So again, I feel like a pure channel for these micro spirit guides. It's amazing. I'm just here to give them a voice and introduce you to your micro.
Oh, great, great. All right, sweet. Thank you. All right. Who else wants to share? Kelly or Denise, it's up to you.
I can go next if that's
Sure.
good. All right. Well, I'm Denise Dunleavy, and I am an animal communicator. And I also do intuitive readings for humans, and I do animal massage. So when I do a reading, right now I'm offering 30 or 60-minute readings, and I have also added an option for a single question, which we would do over email. But normally when I do a reading, I use a picture to connect to your pet. And the first thing I will do is ask them about their personality. So I want to make sure that I'm connecting. So I will ask them things that you would know the answer to, and then I will know for sure that I'm able to connect to your animal. And I usually get images or pictures. Sometimes I hear things, but it's often through various objects that I see. So there is some interpretation. So it's really about me being kind of the medium between the pet and their human, so that we can interpret what the animal is saying. Sometimes what they say or what they show me makes sense to me. Sometimes it doesn't make any sense to me, but it makes sense to the owner. So, so it's a very interactive process of going through and trying to see what's coming through for them. Also, the sessions that I do are great for telling your animal things. So people often forget that part, but they might come up in a reading that they're having some kind of behavior problem. And so I try to show the animal what we would like them to do instead. And so it can be really good for behavioral issues, or for things like letting them know you're going to be moving, or that you're getting a new pet in the household. So so it goes both ways for these conversations. So I actually got started doing readings because people kept telling me I was psychic. I didn't know. I tend to just know things, and I assumed everybody else did too. So once people told me, I started taking some classes and learning to meditate, and then more things became clear, and the messages that I received became more apparent. So I started though working with people and doing energy healings. And from there, I moved into working with animals, which is really where my passion is. And I started doing animal massage. And that is also a great way. A lot of things come up in communication about health issues. I personally don't know that much about health or veterinary care, but I can tell when an animal is not feeling good somewhere in their body. Often I feel things in my body where they have aches and pains, and so I've kind of used that. That often comes up, that the animal could use massage, which I can't necessarily offer, but I can help people know where to go or how to do that. So you can reach me at intuitivedenise.com. My name is spelled D-E-N-I-S-E, and you can sign up there for readings. And I'm offering a coupon code today for 20% off, which is in the chat. So I would love to do a reading for you.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. All right, sweet. Kelly. Oh, we can't hear you yet. You're muted.
How's that better?
Yeah, great.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Kelly. I'm a pet psychic. I can talk to your animals. Usually it's best with a picture, but the picture doesn't necessarily have to be there. If you have a particular question or a particular pet you want to talk to, just let me know. I talk to animals that are alive and the others that have crossed over. I also work with what you call familiars, or pets or guys that are here to help us and teach us. Each pet is different. They talk to me different ways. Some talk to me almost like full sentences, like I was talking to you. Most animals talk to me telepathically. I also see images in my head. I'm also very empathic. I can feel their energies and their emotions. If they're nervous or happy or scared, I can get those things too. I kind of came into my gifts. It's something I've been able to do my entire life. I've been psychic my whole entire life, but just like Denise, I didn't know really what it was. I grew up in a world where this stuff doesn't exist, or this is not. I grew up in more of a Christian background and so forth. And as I always knew things. I was always, I saw little sparkles and stuff, and I thought everybody saw stuff like that. I just never talked about it. I think probably when I was like 4 or 5 years old is when I stopped really expressing how I feel, because I was always shot down from my parents, because they grew up in a world where they said scary, this stuff doesn't exist. Then my parents passed away a couple years ago, and I grew up in Ohio. I moved out here to Washington about 5 years ago, and I started going to the metaphysical fairs and really trying to find, kind of reconnect. Actually, kind of take a step back. About 10 years ago, I started following more of a natural religions and pagan path. I would talk to people's animals, I would say things like, oh, things about animals that no one else should know. And I've always been very connected. I used to work at a horse farm and horses, and I would hear things I would just always knew what they wanted and needed. And the horses and other animals are very easy to trust me. The cats would come out of the woodworks in the barns and hang out with me. Animals who normally don't like people, they would like me, and so forth. And I realized what it is a couple years ago. And then probably about 2 years ago, I think, 2.5 years ago, I came across Mary Beckman, who's also another amazing medium. And she kind of said, no, this is what you can do, and kind of led me on this path. And I can connect with angels and fairies and other spirits too, but my passion is with animals, and I really want to help people connect with their animals and also teach them how they can also communicate with their animals. We're all psychic. We all have gifts. Just like myself, a lot of us has been turned off as little kids, and we've been told, no, that's not what it is, when it is. And I want to kind of help with that. I also help with people with their animal and spirit guides and so forth. A lot of our pets have come back in multiple lifetimes in this lifetime. Because there are familiars. They're here to help us and teach us. And so I found, after doing readings at fairs these past year, a lot of animals are kind of reborn and come into this world, our world again. Because I'm still learning and growing. As being a psychic, your gifts keep opening up and more. In this past year, I've really grown through meditation and going to spiritual activations that my friend Jeff Rose puts on, and I've really opened up to my gifts more and more. And I find that just like us, we're here to learn. We have our assignments. Animals are the same way. They come here, they have their assignments, and when that lesson is done, that's when usually they cross over or they go to a different home. Like that's sometimes why animals go into shelters. It's sad what happens to them when they're abused, or if they have to be rehomed. It usually means that lesson that they were there to teach that person is done, and they're ready to move on. That's why horses, I think, go from home to home, because horses, I think, are the biggest teachers. I've learned a lot about horses through my childhood, and I think they kind of saved my childhood. I grew up in an alcoholic home, and I would have been lost if I hadn't had my horse friends around me, and they taught me a lot of confidence and so forth. Kind of getting sidetracked. My head is all constantly going through stuff. I'm always all over the place. I'm saying, but for readings, I do readings. Like I said, I don't need a picture. You can find me on Pet Psychics and Animal Reiki with Kelly on Facebook. I don't have a website quite yet. Eventually, I want to get that up. I'm also a professional dog groomer. I work at a veterinary hospital, and I can help animals. A lot of dogs come in and they've had either bad experience with groomers or scared. I help them be more relaxed with the grooming process and know that it's not so scary. It's actually a good thing, and they feel better and happy. And also another new adventure I'm kind of starting is helping people find the right pets for them. Also, as a dog groomer and throughout my life, I've noticed people don't think about what kind of animal they want. They just watch a TV show or see a movie or see a dog or cat walking down the street, say, that's what I want, and they go get it without much thought or process into it and much research. I've seen people get Samoyeds, those big fluffy dogs, not realizing how big they actually get. Or people get labs and not know that, yes, labs are very intelligent. I have one myself and I love her, but it takes a lot of work, and a lot of people don't understand what each breed, and most of the dog breeds are bred for a specific task, which is why they act the way they do and why some are feistier than others and so forth. And I want to try to help you find the right one and tap into spirit and help you find the right pet, whether it's from a shelter or a breeder or whatever you decide. So, and I have nothing against any of the breeds or any animals. They're all here to help us on our path. And they said they have their purposes as well. So.
It's great. I appreciate just how passionate you are. And yeah, it's just lovely. I guess I know you interact with animals daily in just the other work that you do too. And I don't know and Dr. Jem works with microbes all the time. And then Denise, is there other work that you do too? And is it connected to animals?
My day job is not connected to animals. I wish that it was, but like I said, I do the animal massage. But again, that's not necessarily.
No, it's great. It's not what you do all the other time. That's
yeah.
great. And then Kelly, did you say what other things you do and like what it's like for you all the time during the day working with people?
I'm a pet psychic. I work in a veterinary hospital. Actually, a lot of my coworkers don't know I'm a pet psychic. They're not open to a lot of this. And growing up in conservative Ohio, you kind of be careful about what you say, because unfortunately it can kind of ruin your reputation, because some people still have this idea that psychics are heathens or evil or just it's not right. So I don't really say it at work, but it's interesting too, because a lot of the animals, they get surprised when they come across someone like me. Most of the animals aren't used to people that understand them, and they look at me like, what, you can understand? And a lot of dogs really like it. And there's a few that don't really like it, because then they can't get away with things like if they growl at me or bite at me. I know that they're just kind of, they're all talk. They're not really going to hurt me. And then at the same time, if they're really scared, they appreciate it. I can understand why they're doing something. And it doesn't mean I can fix it instantly. A lot of people think they can come to a pet psychic and we can wave a magic wand and the behavior goes away. Unfortunately, it doesn't really help. It doesn't work that way. We can tell you why they're doing something. And because I have experience working with dogs and horses and cats, I can give you advice on how to help improve those. I mean, we can give you the advice, but you still kind of, like I said, have to do the work to help those animals behave better and stuff. And like I said, a lot of animals I think are a lot smarter than people realize. And also sometimes animals play the dumb card. They pretend like they don't understand, or they don't. Like my dog, and I'm not immune to it. My dog is great, but she also sometimes doesn't listen. And like I'll be yelling at her, Lucy, come on. And I know she hears me, but she's just playing like pretending like, oh, hi, I'm not hearing you, Mom. Sorry. That's where I had to put my mom voice, Lucy. And then she's like, oh, okay, you mean it. So, and also learning not to give into the sad eyes when she gets in trouble or something, and know that she knows she's in the wrong. And they're like little kids. They like to try to get out of, they try to make you feel guilty for doing something they know they were doing wrong.
But part of what I wanted to bring up too is a lot of people that aren't doing their exact gift full time, they have work where they can practice it all the time too. And you have something like that also.
Yeah, I'm very, very blessed I can practice my gift. I've been working at this hospital for the past year, and it's really helped me open up to my gifts and really listen to it. It's been great. I also do, I actually forgot to mention, I also do Reiki. I'm a Reiki 2 practitioner. I'm waiting to take my next Reiki master to my final step. I have a friend that teaches classes at her home, and I'm waiting for this whole quarantine to be over so we can kind of get on to the next step. So also when I'm grooming and bathing the dogs, I'll kind of put like a nice shampoo, I'll do Reiki and help them relax more. Sometimes I'll also use different things like oils, like lavender oil works great to help the dogs relax more. I just put a little on my wrist and they can kind of smell it. I also sometimes use crystals like amethyst or quartz crystals too, because actually dogs love crystals just like we do. Every time I bring home a new crystal, my dog and my cat, when I say, "Oh, what's that?" and they feel the energies too.
It's great. It's great. And Dr. Jim and Denise, if there's anything else that's occurring to you that you want to share, feel free to jump in and share that's helping people have more context. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add one thing that I thought of is that sometimes in an animal reading, it can become more about the owner. Also, I've had that happen where, we get started and they're either telling me something about the owner or their owner is really the one that has the issue. They think that they want a reading for their pet, but really there's something going on with them, and the pet is kind of there also. So that does come up, and I just wanted to point that out in case anyone ever experiences that.
Yeah, I've experienced that too. And a lot of times we kind of like humanize our pets, like we feel bad about certain things. And most pets just live in the moment.
They're very wise. I was going to add something. I do, yes, I work in a laboratory, but what I was going to express is that all of us can become microbe whisperers too, because we have microbes on our skin and we have microbes in our gut and we have microbes all around us on every surface. Before I started this and before I do any readings, I always speak to the microbes of the soil, the microbes in my aquarium. I always ask for their support. I created a coronavirus purge using the microbes in the soil because they have a cycle that creates nitrogen, oxygen compounds that have been used by medicine in the past to kill viruses. So even though we can't put those nitrogen, oxygen compounds in our lungs because that would be toxic, we do breathe in oxygen and nitrogen gas. And so if we work with the cycle of the microbes in the nitrogen soil, in the nitrogen cycle, and ask them to, on a transcendent plane, help us bring those two elements together in our breath, nitrogen, oxygen, we can do a coronavirus planetary purge, which is a meditation that I created. You can find on my website. It's the virus planetary purge. So I believe in the power of prayer in my own life. I'm a pagan, but I do still send out medicine. I believe in community gathering together and sending positive energy. And we have these microbes at our disposal that are asking us or to listen to them so they can also support us. So we can all work with microbes every day.
Great, thank you. All right, sweet. Well, let's see. So I guess maybe I should share a little bit about myself too. So I don't specialize in this topic. I'll be able to jump in and share when there's anything that's relevant for me. So I'm an intuitive eye reader. I'm Lorelei Schmeil, an intuitive eye reader and also a body psychology coach. There are so many different traits that I read in people's eyes. My aim is to translate your soul, like eyes are a window to the soul. I look at things like what are your natural talents? What is your pacing or rhythm? How do you communicate, make decisions? What motivates you? I look at how you protect yourself, and then also growth lessons. So I call it worldview. So what are the lessons in you? Growing and sharing and discovering who you are and how to play in the world and live your purpose. And there are lessons of some of the other traits as well too. And then I read primarily people, but I do sometimes recognize things in animals. And sometimes when I'm looking at an animal and they're human, there's some of the dynamics that I can understand, again, that may be sourced primarily in the human, but also why they chose this animal and what the relationships, what's coming up in there. So we'll see if people have questions like that. I might have insight about some things tonight too. And you were talking earlier, it might not have been in this segment, about people doing research before they choose their animals. And I'm someone that, I had a dog in my life that was super important to me. And I did a ton of research. I kind of can't imagine how much, almost believe now, how much I did. But yeah, so interesting to think, why is the dog, why was he drawn to me? I was drawn to him. And, the way I read eyes, he was a lot like my mother. So I had a really deeply bonding relationship with him that was so much healthier than the relationship I had with my mother, but definitely some similar traits. So yeah, all kinds of things that can show up for us.
Oh, animals are very healing.
They
Yes.
Very much so. And I kind of also find too, as much as we go looking for our animals find us too. And a lot of times they actually picked us, even if you think it's spur of the moment, or I wasn't. For my dog, the day I got my dog, I was planning on getting a dog at some point in time, but I wasn't planning on getting her that particular day. And it just kind of worked out. I got her 2 months after my mom passed away, and she kind of helped me. I was actually in food service. I thought about being a chef. I've always loved animals. I worked at a horse farm. And I was living in Dayton, Ohio. Then I moved to Columbus and was doing just food service jobs. And when my mom died, I just felt like I was lost. And I found her, and she just made me realize I need to do something with animals. I like cooking. I like doing that stuff, but animals are my passion. I've always had a passion for animals. So, yeah. And then my cat too. My cat's I've had my cat for 12 years now, and he's my little buddy. I'm surprised he's not up here. He's downstairs, but usually he's up here hanging out with me. They're my entourage, I call them.
Great. Well, let's see. So this is who's on the panel tonight. So you've gotten a chance to learn a little bit about who we are and what we do. Maybe if there are any types of questions that people might ask, particularly relating to animals, that we haven't said, maybe it would be good to kind of say a little bit more of those. I mean, clearly people might have questions about animals that are in their lives that are more like pets. There might be animals that are around them in nature. It might be someone that's wanting to get a pet, a pet that they've had in their life in the past. Right, questions about who this pet is and who it represents in their life, any challenges that they have come up with their animals. Dr. Jem and I can answer very general questions about you as well, and Dr. Jem pulling from the animal world, the microbe world, and then I'll pull from what I see in people's eyes. And then Kelly and Denise might have, who knows, whatever other insight they have to share about that as well. So we can really take questions on anything. So it's free for you to be here tonight. And then it's $15 if you'd like to ask a question, and probably all of us will answer in some way. And if it's specifically on the animals, it might be the specialists that answer that. But yeah, all of us may answer. So just a great opportunity to get insight from us, a very cost-effective price. And so anything else about different types of questions people might ask that I didn't think of? Go ahead.
I guess the only thing is I feel like I have to say now too, we're going through a really stressful time right now. We're all experiencing from the virus and all the politics and everything going on right now. It's extremely stressful time for all of us, and our animals are definitely feeling it. My dog gets overwhelmed. My cat gets overwhelmed. The vet clinic, there's been a lot of animals coming in that have been very sick. A lot of animals have been crossing over because they're just so overwhelmed. And my best advice is go to your animals and just do whatever you can to remind them that they're loved. You can explain to them what kind of is going on, but do it as if they were a child, like how you explain to like a 3 or 4 year old. You don't have to explain all the details, and just let you know that they're safe, they're okay. Give them hugs, do whatever it is to remind them that they're safe, because they don't know what's going on. They, as much as they love having us home all the time, they think it's great, but they also know that it's not normal. They know that there's something up. So yeah, just to put that out there too.
Great. So I don't think we have anyone in line for a question yet. If anyone wants to ask a question, you would be first in line. And if no one is asking questions yet, if we have questions, we can also ask each other. I was just thinking, I have questions I could ask. So I have one person that has prepaid, and I'm going to message her right now in case she wants to come in and ask her question now. But yeah, so if anyone wants to ask a question of the panel, so it's only $15, and you pay by PayPal. The information's in the chat, and we just had someone else join. I will put it in the chat again, just so you have that. And in a few moments after that, I'll put in the information on everybody that's in the panel too. And for the person that just joined, so that we have 4 panelists tonight. 2 of them specialize in animal communication in a way that you might typically think about it. And then Dr. Jem has a more unusual specialty. She's a microbe whisperer. And so she can answer questions about microbes, but also about people and our connections to microbes, and microbes giving us insight into who we are.
Thank you, Lorelai.
And I'm an intuitive eye reader. Yeah, exactly. I know, keep leaving me out.
No. I was going to ask you something, or add something, if I may. Is this okay?
Go ahead. Yes.
I was going to say to the wonderful animal guide readers that are here that I I know it may sound a little too organic, but you know, we share microbes with our family. Obviously, we have microbes on our bodies that came from our mom. And along those lines, when I'm with my kitty, his name's Jasper, I talk to him about the microbes we're sharing, you know, and he's licking my my hand, and I bond with him that way. I mean, it's interesting, you know. After a while, pet owners do have bonds with their pets that go beyond just the stuff you can see, but also the microbes. We share microbes. We cohabitate. That's why we start smelling like each other, you know, when we're in a family. And I think our pets and we smell kind of like our pets, at least to dogs and cats. They have a finer sense of smell than we do. They definitely pick their person based on scent, and that has to do with the microbes that they share with us. That's all.
Actually, I think I saw there's an article even saying too that if you have a pet, that you generally have a stronger immune system and so forth, and it's really healthy for children to grow up with pets because they get exposed to bacteria and all that stuff that they wouldn't have without pets. I that's what I've read a lot, and so.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
All right, great. I'm putting the information in the chat on all of us so everybody has all that. Some of us are offering specials tonight too, so that outside this event, if you'd like to do a session to do deeper work with us, we offer the work at a discount from you having come to the event tonight. So thank you so much about that. Also, I just want to mention to everyone, we'd had some trouble with Zoom bombing, so we're recording this event right now, and it will be available online later, but we're not on Facebook Live right now, and I'm letting people in, but there's always a chance we'll get Zoom bombed. And then you're having trouble paying in PayPal. And if you're having trouble paying in PayPal, we can put it over my Square, or I'm just going to say, I'm just going to think what the easiest way to do right now. The best thing would be if you can text me, or actually I'll just call you. So you call me. I'm going to put my number right now if you're not on your phone. I put my number in the chat. So if you call me, I can just put it over my Square, and then that'll be great. We can just do it that way. And I'm going to let some people in the room. And I just wanted to mention too, is we have had some trouble with Zoom bombing. And so just, I feel sad, but like that might happen. So just, if you know, if that does, I will attempt to get everyone out as quickly as possible.
Thank you.
Great. And so, yeah, so Jenna, if you wanted to do, I'm watching my phone. Did you see that? If you can call me, it's 720-352-2434. And Laura has a question. Laura, did you have you want to ask one of the $15 questions, or you just had a question about the event and some things like that?
No, I just did a $15 question.
We did, okay.
Yeah, I didn't know if anyone else was in line. So.
No one's in line right now. So let me just,
and I just sent you an email.
Mm-hmm.
Lorelai, I sent you an email with 2 cats that I'm about to drive 6 hours away to get, and they're really expensive. It's my first cats that are, what's it called, breeds, Sphinx cats, and I didn't know if I should get, it's a boy and a girl, and I've never had, well, first I've only had guinea pigs myself. I've had a cat when I lived with my parents, but I love animals, and I want to become, I almost have this deep energetic connection with animals. They crawl all over me, 6 cats at a time when I go over to people's houses. It's intense. So I would love to have a cat, but there's 2 of them, and they're brother and sister, and they're $1,700 each, and they're they're hairless and they're cute. But I don't know if I should buy both of them because that's a lot of work, and I have a small apartment, or just buy one, or if I should just go and get one at the pound. I don't know what to do.
Can I share my screen, everyone, and I'll show you the photos?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that right? Okay, just a moment. So here's one.
And that's the girl. And they're only a month or 2 old.
And this is the other one.
And that's the boy.
Yeah, so just giving you a little bit more of a...
I kind of want them both, but I know that's a lot of work. It's a big investment.
Great. So I'll stop sharing, and then, yeah.
So any advice? Thank you.
As far as I'm kind of picking up this, they could potentially be yours. I think they're kind of waiting for you to decide. It'll definitely be a lot of lessons in this, and definitely if you decide, I would definitely like to do your research and contact Sphinx breeders or groups that they can help you give some great advice on with those particular kitties. And if you're not sure, you could always go to the shelter and just kind of walk around. You don't have to adopt anybody. You can just go in and see if anybody kind of calls your attention to help you make that decision.
You want to, and maybe, do you want to say anything about what's particularly coming up for you about with them? It sounds like something's here. I know you might find, oh, let me say one more thing too. We just jumped into this. When you ask a question, we may start to share deeper than you intend us to share, or about another topic that you don't want us sharing about. And please just let us know, start waving your hands, unmute, and just say a bunch of things, type in the chat real fast. We want to honor you. So whatever it is that, you want or don't want, please let us know. And then also, I encourage everyone to listen and take in and learn from everything that's shared, every question, every answer, and see what's here for you. And then also, as others have shared, we believe everyone's intuitive. So if something comes in for you and someone asks a question, we request that you allow the attention to stay up here on the panel during the event. Maybe write down what comes through for you so you're more likely to remember it. Sometimes they float. And then if you want, when we're done answering that person's questions, maybe message them on the chat and see if they want to receive what came through for you. It's possible they might be full and not ready right now, not want that at this time. So please honor whatever it is that they share and aim to not take that personally, and just trust that if it came through for you and they're not wanting it right now, that there's a reason why it came through for you. All right.
Laura, it came through for me if Kelly is finished. May I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to, it's great.
Okay, but I need to share my screen.
Okay, so let me make you a co-host if you're not a co-host.
Okay.
You are a co-host already. You should be able to.
Okay, so I'm doing a reading for the young woman who wants to pick. Please tell me your name.
My name's Laura.
Laura, hi Laura, I'm Dr. Jim. I work with microbe guides. I don't know if you heard my introduction, but
I did not. Sorry.
Did not. Okay, that's okay. Basically, I work with microbe animal cards, but they actually give me messages. So the message I picked up is that the boy cat, the little boy, the male kitty, the Sphinx kitty, he looked extremely sad compared to his sister. And this microbe, can you see this recombinant phototroph, this microbe, without telling you the sciencey stuff, I'll just tell you that it is about altruism. This microbe is called a recombinant phototroph. So it's basically a microbe that is a chimera. It's got a piece of another microbe in it. And so it's like the ultimate altruistic microbe because it is sacrificing its own inner being in order to give sunlight for us. It's something that helps us with an alternate kind of energy. So it uses light for growth. It has an unusual external expression, and it doesn't look at all like its parents. So basically what I got is that you are looking for something that is going to need a lot of healing, a lot of love. And he looks, I don't know if you're going to pick one or the other, but he looks like he needs your love and care more than the sister. It looks like he is different than anything else that anyone's ever seen. I know that he's a Sphinx kitty, but he feels very different and very odd and very unloved. And it seems like this particular microbe guide is saying, take in the altruism at the most intimate is to take in something that is so unusual and needs so much care that it's absolutely an act of altruism, of true compassion for you to take him into your heart and into your home. And that's what
That's so cute. Thank you. Because
welcome.
it's like a Siamese Sphinx. He's like a Sphinx I've never seen before, and he does look sad. So thank you.
You're welcome.
I guess, is there some reason why it comes through for you more that she only get him and not both? There may be some reason about that.
Oh no, I said she could get both
Okay.
if she chooses to. I know that I think there's a practical reason for not getting both, which is the expense, I would imagine. But if she had to choose, if Laura has to choose, I would choose the male. But it's up to you to get one or two. Just know the male needs you more.
Oh, thank you.
Well, so I want to second that. And I apologize because it's they're banging pots outside my window. When I saw the boy, my thought was, he wants to go home with you. I wasn't looking at it as being sad, but to me, he looks kind of like the runt a little bit. He seemed smaller, and and what I got was that he wanted you, wanted you to come get him. So I would lean towards the boy also. I think that you could take them both. It would be great if, I know the cost is a big deal, and I think that would be helpful. I don't think they're super bonded though. So I don't, I just didn't get the feeling, because like she had said, the girl, she was much more confident and seemed like, she was kind of fine on her own. I think they would get along fine, but I also would say the boy was choosing you. And I think that you're both are going to be so comforting to each other. So it's going to be a very, very healing relationship for you. And the other thing I wanted to say is that I don't feel like it's going to be more work having two. And I say that partly from experience, because I have two, and they kind of go through things together. It's, I still just have one litter box, to eat at the same time. Like, I don't know, it's not necessarily always more work. And I think I see you having a lot of pets. I see you with with multiple pets in your household, and I think that's because of the love that you will give them, and again, I'm getting a lot of comfort. I also think though that it doesn't have to be these cats. I'm not getting that they're necessarily the only ones for you. So I do think, like Kelly said, it doesn't hurt to go, look at a shelter and see if any of them speak to you. I really think this little boy is, I think he would love to be in your home, but that doesn't mean that he can't get a good home either. So I'm not saying you have to do that and that's the only way, but I think that I think it would be a really good match. So
thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, sorry. I also kind of want to add, this is also kind of coming through. I'm definitely hearing the little boy as a potential, but I'm also hearing just get the little boy, and then maybe there's somebody at you at the shelter. Like there's another cat, or even a dog. I'm also picking up like a smaller dog, like a little terrier type of thing possibly, but there's somebody I think at the shelter that they can help each other grow and bond together, that they'll help each other build confidence up with. And I don't think it's a kitten. I think it's like not like an older cat, but it's like maybe a year or 2 years old. That wants a home. And especially if it's been a while, it's sometimes nice to have a slightly older cat to show the little kitten how it is to be a cat and so forth. That's what I'm kind of picking up. And I have a dog and a cat in my house, and they like each other's companies and stuff. And also be a good lesson for you to learn when to choose your battle, when to intervene, because like they're like little kids. My cat and dog my cat is always hissing at my dog, and my dog looks at me like, she's mean to me, what'd she do? And like I learned just to step back and let them work it out. As long as they're not physically hurting each other, you just kind of let them kind of work it out. But I definitely see a lot of potential with those, and they're definitely lessons in here. And I also see you with multiple animals and possibly an animal that might be coming back. The cat that you grew up with, it might be wanting to kind of come back in your life and help you. I feel like there's a lot of changes coming for you, and whoever you decide to get is going to help you with these changes.
Yeah, my last cat that I grew up with was a Siamese, and this was a Siamese looking cat. So I was like, that's bizarre. So that's interesting you said that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And like I said, it's one thing I've really learned a lot in the past year, that, like I said, a lot of our animals do come back. I used to have pet rats, and both of my animals were different sets of rats. And I have another friend that just adopted a little black kitten, and he was also his cat in this lifetime that has come back. And I'm learning that they say they follow us through our lifetimes, and usually if they cross over, they're usually right by our side. They also don't always understand crossing over. Sometimes if they do pass away, they sometimes don't know, or they have a different perspective on things than we do. Sometimes I've done readings that they'll say, oh, I'm perfectly healthy. The person like, this cat died last week. I didn't know that. The cat, they say animals, especially cats, have a different perspective on these things. Cats are already kind of half in, half out anyway in the spirit world, because they don't care. They're cats. So you don't tell a cat what to do. They have their own rules of how things are done. So.
And you said you grew up in Ohio. I'm in Cincinnati. Where did you grow up?
I actually grew up in Dayton, Ohio. I grew up in Centerville. So actually, my parents went to the University of Cincinnati, and I lived in Columbus for about a year. I was actually about 10 minutes from the Columbus Zoo, and I went there all the time. So yeah, unfortunately, Ohio is a forgotten state. Speaking of kitties, here's my kitty.
Oh, thank you guys.
Hi?
Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Here's my kitty.
One quick thing I can jump in and share is that the female is a lot more, her energies are a lot more like yours.
Okay.
You might enjoy that she's a lot more like you. And then I'm attempting to remember just the energy of your son. And so he might really enjoy connecting with the boy too.
Yeah, I was like really like Christos, and then he was like leisurely.
That's
So
what I'm thinking. So I think that the boy, like you say, your son might really do well connecting with him. Just their energies are more similar.
Right.
Sure. But
Okay.
yeah, so just the activity and the movement and the physical qualities of the girl.
Right.
Yeah,
Thank
I'm also
you.
thinking up the son. If you have a son, like there's something there that's going to help him connect with the animals, like a gift of animal communication yourself. So we all can catch him. And this cat's going to help. This cat's going to be a big teacher. And a lot of times I say our animals talk to us all the time. We just don't realize it. So if you get an image, like all of a sudden, like you have a dog and all of a sudden you want to give them a cookie, that's that dog saying, I want a cookie. My dog does it constantly. And if you ever, just put this out there, if you ever talk to my dog, you'll think I don't take care of her, because she'll tell you she's starving and wants food and all that stuff. So, because she if you're a sucker, she'll go for it.
Yeah, I actually just downloaded all these Udemy courses of animal communication, animal crystal, Reiki, and stuff. So maybe I can teach my son. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, just look at pictures and practice with your friends' animals, and yeah. And a lot of us do it don't realize. I've been talking to animals my whole life. I didn't know what it was until someone else showed me what it actually is. That actually I'm able to do. So.
All right, great.
I think having a pet right now is going to be great for you. So.
Thank you, ladies. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Keep us posted. I'm curious to see what you decide.
I will.
Great. All right. And so we've got two other people in line now too with questions. So we've got Carrie and Jenna. And I know Jenna sent me some photos, and Jenna, it looks like Carrie jumped in too. Does either of you have to leave early? Are you okay? Make sure you're good. Yeah, so Carrie.
I'm good.
What's that?
I'm good on time.
Okay. And Jenna, you too? Are you both good? Just
Yeah.
want to check.
Yeah, I'm good.
It's up to you two, whichever. Carrie got in first, but I'm like, whatever, who wants to go?
Okay. Turn my video on so you can see me. There we are. Hello, everybody. So I have like several questions, but I think I'll go with, I'll just decide at the moment which one I want to pick. Start. So I'm getting into animal communication as well, and I met Denise not that long ago at one of the MeWe fairs, and we did a little mini session together, so that was really great. And so I'm just learning what my abilities are, and one of the blessings of this quarantine was that I've been practicing distance healing, and that's really just in a short time I'm realizing some of my capacities, and I didn't even know what I can do, and so I've been really enjoying it. And I guess from those who've had more experience than I do, or if you have psychic ability to help with humans as well, just any words of wisdom, or like, I don't know what I don't know. I don't know how far my capacities go, or what area I should really focus more on than something else. I mostly do. I find that the animals are really want the healing. They seem to find me when they don't really necessarily want to talk. They want me to do. And then after a few minutes, and I feel like we get some kind of rapport going, then they'll start like, oh, now they'll show me, well, this is really what's hurting. It's over here. And they'll start showing me where to go. And then sometimes I get pictures, but I'm just still developing the communication part. So if any of you have any insight or words of wisdom that you can get from me, or maybe the animals are going to tell you what I need to know.
First of all, the first thing I hear is to stop doubting yourself. When I kind of was opening up to my gifts again and realizing what I can do, I played that game in my head saying, oh, this isn't real. I'm not really hearing what I'm hearing. And I'd second guess myself. Try to push that out of your head and say whatever comes through. Even if it sounds crazy, some of the stuff that comes through, I'm like, really? Like one dog had, like, it was an older dog, and I heard doggy dementia. Like, I've never heard that before. And I said it, and it made sense to the client. And animals have a different perspective on things than we do. And also, if you start giving readings, people are going to come and they always want to hear a specific thing, or they want to hear something, and it doesn't always come up. And just be honest. If it doesn't come through, just say it. Like, I'm not getting anything. And sometimes pets, just like we're kind of slow to opening up. And a lot of animals sometimes aren't used to humans being able to understand them. So it kind of throws them off too a little bit. So it just be a slow process, but just keep practicing. And like I said, I feel like you're very gifted, and I feel like you have like a lot of angels and beings that are around to help you. And just kind of
goosebumps. Thank you.
Oh, sorry?
I just got goosebumps.
Yeah, you have a bunch of their beings helping you. And with this, the one kind of blessing with this whole quarantine, we're also going through a major spiritual awakening for all of us. I've learned how to shield myself more. I'm very empathic, and going into a veterinary hospital is very stressful. And dealing with everyone's energy. And so this is a time to grow and learn and become who we're meant to be in this lifetime. And we're all here to kind of help each other grow and become better. And also, sometimes if you go to the fairs, I hate to say this, but there's some egos that kind of go around, and they'll tell you how to do things. But you do what is ever best for you. Just because it works for one person doesn't mean it works for you. Because like I said, sometimes I'll get pictures, sometimes I'll get full sentences from animals. If it's a dog or a cat that grew up with us, most of them have a better understanding of language. They just can't say it like we can. I've talked to horses that give me full conversations like a person would, but because they don't have the ability. So just do what's best for you. And like I said, it's hard. Just be more confident with your head, and don't think, oh, just really go with what you're really feeling and stuff. And my also advice is any medical advice, just like you just tell them to go to a vet and so forth. So if they're a lot of people come for medical advice too for me, and I never diagnose anything, just because there's like a veterinary can help them with that. So
Great, thank you so much.
So
I'm receiving, oh, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead. I'll go next.
Okay, thank you. Carrie, I was mixing my cards, my microbe animal cards, while you were talking. And I don't know if you heard me sharing what I do.
I did.
Okay, so good. So without going into the science of it, this is a very beautiful card. It is the representation of what I did for my doctorate degree. And it's called, it's not a specific microbe. What I did was I discovered that a community of microbes were needed to clean up PCBs from the Hudson River. So you know how a relay race works. Someone's running and then they pass the baton and someone keeps running. That's how microbes work in a community. So like I said, without going into the science of it, I also have the spiritual meaning for what this card represents. So it's the 10 of pipettes. I'm happy to send you the excerpt from my book so I don't have to do it here if you email me, and Lorelai's putting down how to contact. So you will get more information from me on, the background of it. But basically what it came out is about singing. Now, I don't know if you sing or if you like to sing.
Not well.
Well, sometimes that doesn't matter, but you're working with healing microbes, and I'm sorry, I'm thinking a lot about microbes. I know you're working with healing animals, right? And you've heard that saying, music calms the beast, etc. But in this case, what I'm getting from this microbe community card is, even if you can't sing yourself, maybe when you're working with the pet owners or the people that are concerned about their animal, find out if there's someone musical in that family, or if that person's musical, and suggest to them that they incorporate song or music, even if they don't sing, maybe song or music for that animal's healing process. That seems to be coming through with this wonderful microbe community guide. That's what the community is about. Remember, I told you that they are about cleaning up toxic waste by using the community, like the fungus does one thing, the algae does another, etc. Well, that's how it is maybe you don't sing, but someone else in the community of that beautiful animal will sing or have music to share with them. So explore that with the rest of your wonderful gifts. That's what I'm getting. Don't ignore the spiritual approach to science is the other message I'm getting. As a scientist, obviously very scientific people aren't welcoming mystical approaches to microbes. So I had to do the spiritual secretly. So it's talking about, hey, when I was doing my PhD stuff, also be spiritual. So if a veterinarian advises your client to do something with the animal, always incorporate a spiritual aspect to that medicine. Maybe bless it. Like if the veterinarian, I don't know how many animals are needing medicine right now that you're seeing, but if there is I'm feeling, getting the message from the guide that if there is an animal that's needing veterinary care, that this person who's working with them should find a blessing or ritual or something, maybe in song, to bless that medicine, so that awakens the medicine, and the cells in that animal's body are able to better use that medicine for its healing. Because our bodies and our animals' bodies are very wise that way. 7 can be a magic number when energy is raised. That's the other thing. I found 7 microbes needed to work in the consortium. 7 is a magic number. I don't know if that's an important number in your life, but it's coming through with this microbe as well. So I think that the other part was slow movements hide great power. So I suggest that when you do work with a sick animal, whether it's distance healing or in person, once we don't have to quarantine anymore, make sure you remember that some animals like slower movements, like coming towards their face or their body parts. Slow movements are very calming, because some animals, they don't have the same perspective we do in sight and vision, so they like to be able to smell us before our hand comes over to pet them, or our foot, or whatever it is. So slow movements are important in your healing process. That's what came through with my microbe, the 10 of loops.
Great, thank you so much. This is amazing.
Blessing.
Sorry, I just want to chime in. She said with the music, when I groom dogs, I'll sometimes play, excuse me, relaxing music, like meditate, like almost like a spa meditation type music, and they really respond and they do really, really well. Also, make sure you, if animals, send them mental images like before you approach them too, like what they're doing. And also, if an animal really likes your healing, that's a great compliment to your healing abilities. The wonderful thing about animals is they don't pretend whether you're good or not. If you're good, you're good. I have a friend that does energy healing on my cat, and whenever he comes over, my cat runs right to him and like turns his little back and is like, okay, more please, more. And he'll yell at him when he gets there now, because he just really enjoys that healing. And so that's the best compliment.
I do get that too, because after I've had a session over time, I'll see, oh, there he is again, and or there is she. I mean, they'll come see me.
Yeah, because that's your best compliment as a groomer, a dog groomer. I'll groom animals, and like I said, I'll do Reiki and help them. The next time they come back, they're like, oh, well, they're so happy to see me, and the owners are like, wait, they like the groomer? What's up? They're kind of like, dogs aren't supposed to like groomers, but they like me. They don't like what I do to them, but afterwards they feel better. And so, yeah, that's, I said, the best compliment. That's why animals are so great, is they don't put on masks. They don't pretend. They, whether what they like and what they don't like. So yeah, so listen to them more than the humans aspects. Humans tend to be overly critical about things like that.
Thank you.
Well, it's good to see you again. I feel like, since I've got to meet you in person, that helps a little bit, because I know that you have healing abilities. And so when you were first talking, what came through for me right away was focusing on the healing. Because you were talking a little bit about the animal communication. And I feel like healing first, but I think you're going to come up with your own version of incorporating all of the things that you do. I'm getting a lot of creativity from you that that I don't know, that maybe it feels strange to kind of go way outside the box, but I don't see you doing like just animal communication or just focusing on one thing. So because have you taken animal communication courses?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. And so the biggest thing I think is just practice as much as you possibly can. So like any kind of intuitive readings that you're doing, just acknowledge everything that comes through. I know that I already know just from connecting with your energy that you're getting these, you're getting the messages. And I also see your throat chakra is really strong. And so, so I don't think that you're having trouble saying like the messages or what's coming through. I think it's more of a confidence issue. And so, for me, I went through the same thing. And for me, it was the practice. I did it enough times that I was like, oh, they're really coming through. I'm not nervous anymore because I've done it enough times that where people have said, oh yeah, that's exactly what my pet would say. So it's the repetition, just continuing to do it. There's a website I can send you where you can practice. And so it gives you, because at first too, when I started, I like went through all of my friends that I could ask. And then it was like, okay, well now who else am I going to practice on? So there's a website that where people can post a picture of their animal and say, does anybody want to do a reading? So I can put that in the chat for you.
And I'm on a Facebook page too, so I have some people to practice with and as well. But I'll take that because I think that'll be great.
Yeah. So are you trying to figure out like I'm because I feel like you've already got this going, so I'm not really sure like what exactly your question is, like because you're already communicating with animals. So I guess that's the biggest thing is just practice, work with your confidence, and use the healing skills that you already have, because I know that you have those. And I really think that you're like, even just brainstorm or ask your spirit guides. I think you're going to have some creative solutions that come to you that are going to incorporate different modalities. So it's not just going to be like I'm an animal communicator or I'm an intuitive reader, or I feel like you're going to be able to incorporate a lot of those things.
Great.
Yeah, I'm also putting, I kind of say whatever spirit comes through, because they come at me. Like, I'm also feeling like you need a sense of like community and people to kind of help you grow. There's a Facebook group called Hands of Light. It's through Facebook. My friend Mary Beckman, and they started it up. It's a face, and anybody can come and join. It's a group of a bunch of psychics and healers, and it just offers support. They do meditations. They do, if you have need prayers, you put it up. We all send prayers. It's a great great communities, how we kind of stay connected through these crazy times. It's a wonderful group, and I recommend anybody to go find it. Like I said, Hands of Light. And yes, there's a lot of great readers and healers and meditations to help you connect more with your guides and so forth, and work on your gifts too, and stuff. That I would definitely recommend that. That's one thing. The biggest help for me is having support from other psychics and mediums to because I have a hard time believing in myself a lot because I've had a lot of negativity in my childhood. So having that community and that support system has really helped. Yeah, because we've all been where you're at. We've all had those doubts and even now people who've been practicing for 23 years also sometimes like, did I really hear what I'm hearing? So it's a very normal thing to question it.
Thank you. Gosh, some great information. I know you weren't sure, Denise, what I would need, but everything you all said was really what I needed to hear. So thank you. It's great help.
You're welcome.
And just a little bit, right? We've talked about your eyes before. One of your natural talents is server, and server is about deeply connecting and honoring all life. So often, in addition to people, it's animals and nature and all those things. So it totally makes sense to me that you'd be working with animals. Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. Sweet. All right. Anything else left for Carrie? Are we done? We may be done. All right. And next is Jenna, and we've got some photos from Jenna. Jenna, did you want to share a bit about your question?
It's a very specific question. I love animals. I have 10 total right now. But I've just got my outside animals. I have 2 donkeys and a little pony, and I got them about 1.5 years ago. And the pony came with one of the donkeys, but he's wonderful, and we have a good bond, and he lets me, brush him and touch his face, which a lot of horses don't want you to do that. I can even pick his feet clean and file them if I have to, but I can hardly ever get the halter on him. He's scared of it. He doesn't even like the noise. So sometimes I'll carry it around with me a lot to try to desensitize him to the noise. But when the farrier comes to trim his feet, it's just like, am I going to get it on today or not? So it just, any way that that could be made easier, or if somebody could send him that message. I've told the donkeys multiple times to tell them.
Well, let me chime in.
And I've got photos if you want photos, but you may not want photos.
I'm going to chime in. I've worked with horses. Actually, I worked at a riding stable for 20 some years. I cleaned stalls and taught lessons. I also worked with a jousting troupe called Knights of Valor. They have a full contact. They use the 2,000-pound draft horses and so forth. They also had a lot of rescues that had issues. The first thing that came through is your pony says, I am not little. He is very stern. He doesn't think he's little. He thinks he's a big guy. It's like little dogs thinks they're big. He doesn't understand that. And I feel like it's not so much he's scared, it's a game. It's a fun game for him. And yeah, try to find, is there some particular thing he likes really well? Like I would try like peppermints or something really special that he only gets during with the halter on. Actually, some horses like those Werther originals, like those butterscotch candies.
Right.
When I worked at the Renaissance Festival, we used to use them to throw gold, because the wrappers are gold, so they're throwing gold into the crowd sort of thing. And we'd always give the horses one, and they loved it. They say something really special he only gets when the halter comes on. That's what I would recommend. Also, when I worked at the horse farm, it'd be a beautiful sunny day, and I'd go out and I'd have 12 horses to bring inside. And of course, nobody wants to come in when it's all sunny out. And they'd play that You Can't Catch Me game. And I'd watch them, they'd run away from me. And so I got tired of playing that game. It's not fun For
No.
me, it's fun for them. They think it's hilarious. I'm sure they were all laughing at each other, watching me run around and stuff. I'm not very tall either. I'm only 4'11", so it's really hard. So I started taking out peppermints, the little peppermint candies, and they had that crinkle sound. And after a while, when they hear that crinkle sound, they come up to me every time, and I stopped playing that game. So that'd be my best recommendation, is something that, because like I said, horses are also like little kids. It's a bunch of like little like preteens almost, like they just want to have games and joke around. But if you give them something really special, he might be more motivated. But it's going to take time. It's not going to be a first time thing. But like I said, that's my best advice. Find something he only gets during the halters and stuff.
Okay.
There are a couple questions. So one of the practitioners wanted to know the name again of this.
Nico, Nikko. He's
Okay, great.
about 16 years old.
And I think they're saying that seeing the photos would be helpful too. So I want to share, okay? So if this is, can you see that well?
Yes, I see them. They're beautiful, beautiful horse.
Yeah, he's only about like 36 inches at the shoulder, but he is in charge of the much bigger donkeys.
That does not surprise me. Say, like, I mean, when I worked at the horse farm, ponies are trouble. Horses, the big 2,000-pound horses are gentle, but the ponies are the ones you have to kind of watch out for, because they have them. They're very stubborn little animals. They're great. They're wonderful, but yeah, they definitely are very stubborn. Yeah. All between horses and ponies. Yeah, ponies are definitely they're fun, but yeah, they're definitely stubborn.
All right, great. Who else wants to jump in and share?
Well, I was gonna tell Jenna I concur with Kelly due to the fact that I got this card. I don't know if I can share it, Lorelei, but it doesn't matter. I can just tell you about it. This little microbe.
There's just a little bit of reflection. Hold it up again and let's play with the angle just a little bit.
How about I share the screen? That would be easier.
Okay, sure. You can share.
Okay, let me try doing that. And then I can tell you, let's see if I can find you real quick. So this would be the pipettes one, and this is the Della Vibria. Okay, I'm going to say, I don't want to say the big long word because not everybody appreciates the
it hasn't opened where we can see it yet. Did you share your whole desktop or just a window? You might need to unshare.
Oh, okay.
So just do stop share and then share again, but share your whole desktop and then all the windows, or you can pick just that window.
Sorry about that. Can you see it?
Not yet. You're not sharing again yet.
Oh, okay. Let me try that again. Jenna, I wanted to ask you something.
Great.
I've had beautiful horses in my life too, but by the way, but I thought that this isn't even the one I want to share. I'm sorry. There it is. Can everyone see that? It's called Smart Predator.
Yes.
Vibrio bacterioboris. So this microbe, no, I don't want to get too much into the microbes. Jenna, if you already heard my spiel about who I am and what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear that already?
Yep.
Okay. So Vibrio bacterioboris is a smart predator. So what it does is it creates a nursery of its own kind by inserting itself into E. coli. It goes into the two layers of E. coli and it turns E. coli into its own little home. And then after it turns this E. coli into its own incubator, here, let me, right there I'm showing how it goes into the E. coli cell, it grows its own kind, and then bursts out, so it penetrates. So it kind of goes along with, I was gonna start talking about what Kelly said, teaching the horse that, is it a he or a she?
A he,
yeah. Teaching him that he can only get a treat when you're going to put the harness on or is a halter on is good. That's a good idea. It's very smart. That's why this came up. But also the other lesson I was going to convey about this smart predator is penetrating the world of Nico. Maybe I know it's going to sound a little strange, but sometimes I pretend I'm a cat with my kitty. Sometimes he doesn't like it. Sometimes he thinks it's funny. But if you could just maybe be with Nico the way another horse would be with him, so that you can penetrate his between the layers of what separates you as a human between you and the horse. You know, what is that layer in between human and horse? Find that common layer that you both share, and that way, instead of being a smart predator, which is in this case destroys the E. coli, you create your own little world, your own little incubator of you and Nico. You become this, become part of this sphere that's just you and him, and then that'll help you relate to his play. It sounds like that's what he's doing, is playing, but maybe you can learn what toys he would like to play with that would involve you allowing to do what you need him to do. So instead of making it something that human and horse are trying to do, it's more like you are the horse too, and you are going to be just getting him to do something like another horse would. That's what I'm getting from the smart predator. Thank you. I'm going to stop sharing now. I hope that was helpful.
Yes.
So I was trying to send some messages to Nico about just kind of commuting the other way, letting him know. I feel like it's kind of a power struggle. You know, that he, you know, is trying to, when you were talking about how he's kind of in charge of the other animals that are bigger than him, maybe think it's really like a power dynamic. And so I was just trying to communicate with him a little bit about that and how important it is that he, you know, give in sometimes. But the other thing that I thought of when everyone was talking was that if it's a game to him, maybe find a different kind of game, you know, some other way to get that energy out, and even just like exercise or something, like, so he's tired by the time you have to put the harness on. So I'm thinking to kind of replace this, like give some other things that will you know, give him activity or tire him out before he has to do this. And this is something that he's been doing for a long time. So I do think it will take a while to correct that behavior. And that's something that like I can tell him during this time, like when they were talking, I was like sending him some messages. But I do think it will be a process of maybe combining some of these things. I definitely think using the treats is a good idea. Yeah, I think that he almost has what I call with dogs, the little dog syndrome, that
Yeah.
you know, he's trying to assert some dominance and you know, and definitely being stubborn, but hopefully kind of recognizing that helps a little bit. That I think he might have had a bad experience too at some point, and so, but over time he's just developed this as a habit. And so, like they were saying, he's less scared and more now it's just become this thing that he does. So so I think he's still going to be kind of stubborn. And that's one of the hard things about animal communication is I had an animal one time that I was saying, okay, you're doing this behavior, it really needs to change. And he basically said, but I'm not going to change. He was like, I don't like this, and you know, that's just how it is. And I'm not necessarily getting that, but I feel like it will take multiple tries to, you know, it might take a lot to get him to change that behavior. But
Right. And the former owner did say that he was okay to halter until he had to be boarded somewhere for a period of time. And after that is when it got harder.
So either something happened, or it was also a form of rebellion about having to be there. That it, you know, it's that kind of dominance, like, oh, I'm going to have to go to this, you know, to this other place that maybe he didn't want to be. So I'm sure it was a combination, but I think it's become now a habit that's kind of ingrained in him. So.
Right.
I'm also kind of now picking up these might have some confidence issues. So it might be fun for bonding time for you two to find some activities to do together. There's a lot of great horsey activities. I think some trainers like John Lyons and Pat Pirelli and John Lyons are great. They have different activities you can do with your horses to kind of work with them and build up their confidence and their bond. When I lived in Ohio, there was a big horse seminar called the Equine Affair. It's great, and I saw both of them, and they do more of a natural horsemanship approach. And like I said, fun games you can do with your horses to boost their confidence. And when I worked with a lot with the jousting horses, a lot of them were rescues or came from different homes or situations, and they had a lot of they said they were really insecure, but as you worked with them and do different activities, they really enjoy it. And horses love games, and they love being stimulated and stuff, and they like staying busy. And so they're very highly intelligent animals, and they're a lot smarter than people realize, especially if you never really worked around horses. You may not think they're not paying attention to things because they're grazing or doing stuff. They're fully aware, and he has your number. I see him. He knows exactly how you're doing, and he knows that you're not going to hurt him. He knows that he's safe. And I do think there was somebody that was at this boarding facility that wasn't really mean to him, but maybe didn't respect him the way he wanted to be respected and stuff. Because a lot of people, unfortunately, they don't see how amazing horses can be and so forth. A lot of people get horses having no clue how to work with them. There was one jousting horse in particular that was actually a downtown carriage horse that this lady had no clue what she was doing. This horse was amazing, but she did no clue of how much work and effort goes in. But yeah, I'm still seeing going on a little thing, but yeah, just fun games and activities to keep him busy, and it'll help you both bond too. And I'm feeling the donkeys also want something to do. Donkeys like to stay busy too, like just to find games and stuff to entertain them. But yeah, they're actually they're not really scared of him, but they just let him do. And they tried to tell him to, but they're just like, we're donkeys. He's a pony. We're gonna go do our donkey things.
Yeah. Yeah, the donkeys wrestle together a lot.
I hope I can say one more thing about this, Jenna. This is Dr. Jim. So this smart predator also is known to obliterate harmful disease. So they kill off E. coli, so that's pretty good, the bad E. coli. And so I was getting a message thinking about Nico and what everyone was saying. And through this microbe is also talking about harmful disease in a way that suggested to me that maybe in the past, it was also a issue of the wrong harness chafing his skin. And he has a memory of that. I'm sure you've had that look at this, but I got this imagery of maybe massaging him when he lets you. It sounds like he lets you touch his face. Mm-hmm. He may have a callus or something that just, you know how one tiny little prick can hurt us or bother us. I mean, it might be something that he just associates. Maybe it still does. Maybe a different harness wouldn't bother that part of his skin. So it's something to look into as well.
Thank you.
Sure.
Great. And I had just a little bit that I noticed from you when you're sharing. So again, if I'm sharing about something that doesn't feel good, please just let me know. And it's interesting what the rest of you were just sharing too about versions of the horse might not want something. And there's like, to me, I connect anger is I want, I don't want, and so I want, I don't want, it's boundaries. And whereas aggression is like taking someone else down. So to me, anger is really a good thing. It's important that we can feel anger and know what we want and don't want, and ask for it and say no. And I noticed as you're talking, it seems, and by the way, so I also use a model where feelings are in particular parts of the body, typically for people. So anger often shows up in the head or the jaw, the head, not the very top center, but most the head around here, the neck, the shoulders, and the back. And as you're sharing, it just looks like you have some history or there's something with your jaw. And I was just wondering how clear you are with saying yes and no and asking for what you want. And like, is there stored anger in you that hasn't come out?
I don't speak up for myself very well.
Yeah, so often what happens in a community is that whoever is the easiest opening for something, all of it comes through them. And it's not until the other people start sharing that it's not coming through them so much now. And I wonder if it's not just with your horse, but for you speaking what you want, saying what you want, saying no in some other areas of your life, that's really what the horse may be here to help you with. And that this pony, like the pony is not going to be able to be able to be yes and be receptive. Like he's like being stubborn for you because you're not expressing it. And so, yeah, and you all say anything about that. That's just what I was connecting with your body and some of the different feelings.
Yeah, actually, as you were saying, Lorelai, I was kind of getting that. As I've said before, horses are amazing teachers, and that actually might be something that he's teaching you. When I used to take riding lessons when I was little, and we'd ride one horse for a couple weeks and then we'd switch to a different horse because each horse could teach us something that the other one couldn't. Yeah, I definitely feel like he's going to teach you a lot of lessons and also speaking up. And if you get mad at him, yell at him, just act like, remember, be like a parent. They might give you a look like, oh, did I get in trouble? Don't feel bad. Don't feel like you're a bad parent. He knows that, he's playing games with you. And I used to yell at the horses sometimes or they'd do something or I'd be like, back up. And they said I'm short, so I have to kind of stand my ground with them. I'm not being mean. I used to think, oh man, I'm being so mean to these horses. No, they understood what was going on and they used their cute like innocence to their advantage. And I've seen a lot of horses be like, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Or they give you this like you see the little tears almost coming down their face. My dog's really good at making me feel bad at yelling at her when she does something wrong. But just like I said, they're like little kids. Just know that you're looking in their best interest.
I say too, like you can practice also if are there people in your house? Are you the only one?
It's just me and my boyfriend here.
Okay. So if your boyfriend is willing, and you can do this just like for 5 minutes or something, just if he's willing, just request things from him. It can be simple as fill me up a glass of water. Please bring me the glass of water. And then, oh no, the temperature of the water is not quite right. Or no, I didn't want like this much. I wanted this much. And this might be a really challenging thing for you to do if you're not used to doing this. And if he's willing to play with it, but this is a way that you're practicing the things that are connected to anger.
So I wanted to add.
I don't have that much of a problem. I was sorry.
Go ahead, Jenna.
I was going to say, I don't have that much of a problem telling him what to do, though.
Okay. So it's in other contexts where you have more trouble.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so find an area where it's harder and practice with that. That's why it can be making requests as well as saying no to something. And it maybe like the place to eventually practice is with your pony, but you can practice in other places too.
Yeah, like work. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so someone else had something else to say. Who was?
Or the if you can't reach something, just ask. Oh, I have that problem. So
I was Jenna. Say something to Jenna. Jenna, if you're ready. I have meditated on all of the microbes in my deck, and so I write down the card meanings. So as everyone was sharing and the stuff that Lorelai just said, I asked the smart predator if it had anything else to add. So, the smart predator, like I showed you that picture, it turns, I think you can see it here, right? Mm-hmm. It turns the E. coli into its own little incubator. And so one of the spiritual lessons from this microbe is destruction of the past to multiply opportunities, because it bursts out of the dead E. coli now so that it can make more of itself. So to me, it was saying destruction of the past, things that have made you angry, like everyone was talking, things that weighed you down. The horse can sense this, as Kelly was saying, they can sense when you're holding things in. And in order to multiply more opportunities with friendship with your animals, with your horse and your donkeys, you want to destroy that in some way. The suggestions I've been hearing are wonderful. Find a way to just break something outside. I've worked with anger before. You can put it into a stone and throw it into the water. After you put all your anger in there, there's different chakras where the anger is located. The heart is one place, but if there's another place where you're especially angry about, I don't know if you work with chakras. Do you?
I'm learning about them now some.
Oh, wonderful. Well, then this ties right in. So whatever heart is where we hold some of the anger, but there are other chakras that'll work. So you put that anger, you think about it, into a stone, and then you walk over a river or a lake or some other water body and you throw it in. That's one way. There's another way is to get something that you can break safely and throw it against something hard. So these are all things that are physical manifestations of you releasing the anger. So thank you. I hope that helps.
There's actually a place in Eugene where you're supposed to be able to go and break things. And I was wanting to go there once it was open again.
That's fantastic. I've never heard of it. That sounds awesome.
All right, great, great.
Thank you very much, everyone.
You're welcome. Good luck with everything. And I said, just be, final thought is just be patient with him and just, you know, I think he's gonna give in, but I mean, I'm definitely hearing like something special to give him, like some type of treat.
Yeah.
So, peppermint or Werther's Originals. A lot of horses really like that
Okay.
butterscotch candy. I mean,
He looks wonderful. Your horse.
Yes, he's adorable.
Well, we're open for questions. We have time for another 1 or 2 questions if anyone else has questions. It's just $15 to ask us a question. And as you've been hearing, you'll get insight from 3 or 4 of us. So it's great value, lots of great insight for $15. And here's the information on how to pay on PayPal if you'd like to ask us a question. And while you're here, here's the information for filling out our feedback form. If you'd like to share some feedback with us, we'll put you in a drawing for a free 30-minute session with one of us of your choice. Yeah, so who might have a question?
So this is Debbie.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have a question. Can I pay after I get done here, or how?
Yeah, you can if you need to. That's okay. Yeah, if you want to put your email in the chat, you can send it just to me. I can email you the link too, so you can pay later.
Good. Okay. So here's my question. I have lots and lots of animals and always have. I'm an animal person, but I feel like it might be time to change my relationship with my animals. One question would be my English budgies. Do you know what they are? They're like parakeets, but bigger. I raise those, and so have quite a few of those. And I raise ragdoll cats, and I love them. You know, you saw them earlier. So my question is, I'm also an artist, and my art is taking more and more of my time, and I do mostly wildlife pictures, and I'm finding myself wanting to spend more time with my artwork and sometimes with people, whereas I spent a lot of time in the past with my animals as the kind of main focus. But I'm kind of one if any insights maybe about what the animals feel about that, how do the English budgies feel about that are they want, you know, what do they want, right? I mean, because so that's my question, if it makes sense.
We saw a bunch of kittens earlier. How many adult cats do you have?
I have 13.
Oh my gosh, wow.
So I need to figure out how to put my email in here. Sorry, I'm trying to do, I don't do things at once very well.
Are you on a phone?
There.
Yeah.
There it is.
Okay, great. I got it. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
So did you want to show anyone your cats again? Your cats are, I don't know if you have them with you right now too, but
I do. Let's oh, there's my dog back there. There was one of the kitties on my lap. So I'm reduced my ragdolls considerably. So I'm down to, oh, sorry, my background's showing badly.
it's okay. We can still see you.
My question is more about the birds, truthfully. Oh, that's even worse. I'll make it better.
I'm kind of picking up, they want what's best for you. And I know they're a source of healing for you and they make you smile. And especially one particular, I feel like they sing a lot to you and is very chatty with you. And yeah, they're coming through. But yeah, they're just saying whatever you decide, you know, and they're okay if, you know, you want to go do something else. They're not going to be upset and they're not going to be offended.
They are. Because that's my big, you know, I've had some of them for a long time. Some of them I've had for shorter periods of time. And I always, you know, whenever I rehome something, it's a struggle for me. But at the same time, I'm feeling some pulls in other directions. And
I think as people, we tend to feel guilty about those types of rehoming animals. And it might be one of those things, whatever lesson they're here, they're done with you and it's time to move on. And it's hard. When my mom passed away, she had 2 dogs. She had a beagle and a cocker spaniel. And the beagle went to go live with my brother, and the cocker at the time I couldn't take. So he went to go live with my mom's cleaning lady, and I felt really guilty about it. But it was the best decision for her. And I think as long as you do it responsibly and, you know, give him a good home, it's okay. And, you know, animals they'll still love you. They'll still, you know, they won't hold any grudges against you. I felt guilty for years I felt like I abandoned my mom's dog. I went with her to get this little puppy. I lived with him for years and it was heartbreaking, but in the end it was best for them. And, you know, it's more, I think you're feeling the guilty more than them. You're kind of putting that human emotions attached to it. And, you know, whatever you decide, they'll be fine. And forgive yourself, you know, don't feel guilty for it.
it's
And
interesting.
just I want to jump in. There's some questions too, so the other practitioners can keep connecting to get you answers. What are the birds' names and what do they look like?
English budgies. There's lots of them. I mean, I raise them, so they're
Like about how many do you have too? That might
60, 70.
Okay, that helps with context.
50, I don't know for sure. But I raise them and show them. We go to shows with other English budgie people, and I have big, huge outside aviaries. So they have big areas to fly around in.
This makes sense now why it takes so much time.
Yeah, and actually when they're in big aviaries, it really doesn't, because you feed them all together and they're watered all together. The ones that actually are my bigger questions is I have a really friendly cockatiel and a really friendly green cheek, crimson belly, but the cockatiel eats my colored pencils and the green cheek chews up my chairs. And
probably if you could say their names too, that would be great.
Buttercup and Sweetie Pie. And I adore them, and yet at the same time they're wanting more attention, and it's usually that's when the attention is competing with my artwork. And so it's actually the ones that really are, like, the budgies are all together and they're happy with each other. It's these ones that really would prefer personal attention, and of course I'm more attached to those individually, and yet at the same time it's becoming more and more apparent that and I have cats too, so then I have to watch out for them because they're smaller birds. And so yeah, probably getting that.
Okay, that's great. I know we took you off course a little bit from what you were going to share, but maybe we got to the most important thing.
I have something weird to say, but I hope it's okay for
Please.
Debbie.
Oh, and by the way, we couldn't see you yet. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. I was busy looking at, I got 2 cards. Debbie, did you hear what I talked about? I don't want it to sound too
Yes.
Okay, so they're microbe cards. I got 2 of them instead of just 1, and so I was looking at the meaning. So the first one is, I don't want to take the time to share than Lorelei because it's two of them and I'd have to take too long. So I'm going to try to share it up
Oh,
here.
not quite that close. Pull it back a little bit.
Before I continue to
great.
talk, well, I'm just going to say what it is.
Sure.
So, Debbie, you can find out about this microbe. It's the scent of rain microbe. If you go to my blog post of January of this year, it's the scent of rain microbe. I'm not going to say the long name, but I can also, if you email me, I can send you excerpts from my book. It's the microbe that gives that beautiful fragrance when after it rains in the soil. You know that wonderful fragrance, that after rain scent. Anyway, I'm a microbe whisperer, so I know how they grow, and I don't think you can see it there, but you can appreciate it more when I tell you they branch out like fungi. They're not fungi, but they branch out like fungi. So that speaks to the thing that Kelly was saying about how it's time for these wonderful birds of yours to branch out and elongate and grow in new directions, because not only will they get to grow, but you will be allowed to grow. So that's the message, the first message I got from the Scent of Rain microbe. So great. So then I said, oh, well, what does this one have to say? Why is this one? Now this one is extreme heat bacteria. They live in the undersea vents. I'm sure you've heard of them, way down in the bottom of the ocean, right? The undersea vents.
I have.
Yeah, they live over 100 degrees centigrade. So they one of the meanings is they thrive with hot, passionate emotions or places. They avoid cold temperatures. They use ancient means for solving problems. They survive conditions that would eliminate most people. And then the weird thing I was going to say is extraterrestrial connections. So for some reason that would be more clear to you than to me, all these birds have been in your life to open up your artistic ability. That's why you're getting more into your art, because they've been drawing. Okay, sorry if you don't believe in extraterrestrial life. Again, that's a just different subject. But the extraterrestrial connections are like you're drawing from other levels, other planes of existence, so to speak, to bring your art into being. And these birds helped you do that. So before you let them go, make sure you tell each and every one, maybe even do a little drawing for each of them or paint them or something. Honor their gift that they gave to you, because that's what they have done for you. And now they're ready to go and branch and grow somewhere. But my goodness, what a gift they've given you.
Mm-hmm. I'm also picking up too a different animal aspect. I feel like you're very connected with the elementals. Birds are also kind of a spiritual animal. They represent a lot of angels and other spirits and so forth. And a lot of like our galactic, I know a lot of people are aliens. This is about animals, but our galactic families are watching over us and they're helping us along. And like I said, a lot of the stuff that we grew up thinking it doesn't exist, it really does. And I feel like you're very connected with the Fae. I kind of feel like if you take pictures of your birds, you might see other friends and entities around. I feel like you're surrounded with a lot of elementals with you, like fairies and gnomes and so forth. And those birds are very much connected. And physically they might go, but you will always be able to connect in with them if you have dreams. And for anybody, if you ever have dreams with your pets that have crossed over, usually just like our loved ones, they've come back to visit with you. So your birds will always be with you. They may not physically be with you, but I guarantee they will come back in some form to be with you. So yeah, they're always going to be with you. Our pets are always with us. Just like they're our loved ones, they're our family. So I don't worry about them physically going away, because spiritually you're always going to be connected with them. If you have pictures of them, you can just look at those pictures and you can connect with those animals. That's how I connect with the animals that are across the country. Like it's been years since I've worked with the jousting horses. They're in Canada and all the place else, but I can still kind of connect with them in that one point. And they will always remember you. If you come in contact with them again years down the road, like a show or something, they will remember you. I mean, I know I can see that you take very good care of all of your animals, and kindness goes a long way in the animal community. If you're show that little bit of kindness, they will remember it for the rest of their lives. So I don't think you need to be worried about them not remembering you or loving you. They love you very, very much.
Good. Thank you.
So I want to follow up on that pretty much what I heard when you started talking about the two that you were connected with. I heard, what does it matter where we live? So what that meant to me is that they might live somewhere else, like physically, but it was kind of like, we still love each other, you're still there. I kind of got the idea that they were kind of like, well, if we live somewhere else, she can come visit us. That it was literally like, well, we could live somewhere else and, still love each other. So, and to what Kelly was saying, anybody can communicate telepathically with their pets, and I absolutely think that's something that you can hold with you, that when you still, when you miss them or when you want to send them messages, that they will hear that. I do think that all the birds are going to be fine. I'm not getting any indication. I think that you would be very careful about who would be taking care of them, and I think that they trust you, so I wouldn't worry about that part. When you first started talking, though, what I got for you was travel, that you have not been able to travel. Whether, physically or literally, that you're really tied down there. And I'm seeing that there is a new journey for you, that I think literally it would be a chance for you to take a trip and to be able to do that, which when you're taking care of everyone else, you're not doing anything for yourself, but also you have to be there for them. But also just a new journey in general. I got a really good feeling about your artwork, and about that you really need to go in that direction, and that this path that you've been on for however many years is kind of coming to an end, that maybe you have already learned some lessons and there's a new path and a new journey for you to go on. And I really think that this art is going to come alive. You'll be able to go to places to, you can draw things that you've seen or experience more. And I feel like that is what's calling you forward. And you can still have animals when you want.
Mm-hmm. Any feelings about death? Because since I have a lot of animals, there's more than the usual amount of passing. And I feel like a lot of my lessons has to do with an early experience with death, and not feeling very capable of, I don't know what the word is, but that getting over my fears and my worries and that animals see it differently. I don't know. Any thoughts?
And I don't know if, Denise, did you get a chance to share just about other things that, I don't know if you all had a chance to share yet too. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Cool.
My thought about animals crossing over, I work at a veterinary hospital, as I've mentioned, and I see it. I'm a dog groomer, but I do have to kind of deal with the euthanasias. They do come in, and I think when animals it's their time, they see death as a different thing. They're usually not as afraid when it's their time to go. They go. I witnessed a dog that was being put down a few months ago. It was one of my coworkers' dogs. The dog had cancer, and he passed away sooner than they were expecting. And as the vet tech was prepping the dog, I noticed that the dog was physically, the body was still going, but as soon as before even the drugs hit, the dog was out of the body. The dog knew what was going on. They knew it was time, and it's usually their choice. And like I said, I mean, physically they might go away, but spiritually they're still there. They still have the ability to astral travel. They come to your dreams. Like I said, I used to have pet rats. Every once in a while I'll have dreams with my rats. I used to ride horses. The horses will come into my dreams occasionally, because they're always with you. They never, death, the only thing that really dies is the body, the vessel that you're carrying, just like our loved ones. I've dealt with death a lot in my lifetime, a lot more. I'm only 38, but I've lost both my parents, all my grandparents, and I see it. And my parents are still with me. My grandparents are still with me. Ancestors I've never met are with me, and same with you. And it's hard for us as humans to understand that process, and it's scary, and we're not sure how it goes, but and it's hard for us to let go. That's that human aspects for us, but they're always with you, and they always love you, and the love is what continues, not the physically they might be gone, but they're always around. And it's actually kind of hard too, as working at a veterinary hospital, is when people have to put animals down, and I can feel the animals are still there and present, but they're not ready to hear it. And I want to tell people so badly, they're still with you, and they're always by their side. And sometimes if their body's not working, they can't do what they need to do to help you, so they leave their bodies so they can still help you with whatever task. And sometimes, like I said, animals can come back in this lifetime. And as I'm opening up to my guests, the process I understand is they're here to teach us a lesson. And when that lesson is done, then that's when they usually cross over, whatever the lesson is. I mean, and I don't fully understand it. Because I'm still learning the process, but it might just be that lesson's done, and they go back to wherever we go when we cross over. They get a new assignment, and then they come back. It's like when they're dreaming too. My dog is teaching me a lot of how animals travel and communicate. That's why I talk about the whole familiars. A lot of our pets are here to teach us and help us on our life path. And my dog has taught me a lot of how they do that. Like when they're dreaming at night and they have those active dreams, they're also traveling to other places and other realms, and they're getting more information and what we call downloads or more growth as their assignment continues. So that might be what's happened with your animals too. And also, we're going through an immense amount of stress right now, and a lot of animals are feeling it. And like I said, there's a lot of change and there's a lot of growth coming. And as I say, it's not to quote a movie, death is sometimes just the beginning of something. So try to see it as just not necessarily a bad thing. Though it's hard. It's really, really hard. It took me a long time to get to this point with dealing with grief, with my own passes and so forth. So I hope that helped a little bit.
I was going to tell you, Debbie, while wonderful Kelly was sharing that, some things came to me that I wanted to tell you. So the scent of rain microbe is a soil microbe. Your animals, I think many of animals are just associated more closely with Mother Earth. They are more aware, they're in the present, they're little Buddhas, they're in the present. So they are fine, and I think they understand the cycles of life a little more intimately than we sometimes do. Some of us can understand them if we listen. So they are in tune with the cycle of life and the fact that their bodies will become part of Mother Earth and nourish the plants. So I would invite you to commune with your kittens and your birds, your furred and your feathered family, and tune in to what they might have to say about that cycle of life, and you might get some insights. And the other thing I was going to tell you is, yes, I've dealt with death in my own personal life, and one thing that I've learned in my shamanic work is that we create our own heaven for our spirit to enter. And I see you surrounded by loving creatures, and you have such a loving heart that when your body passes into the soil, into Mother Earth, to feed the next generation of plants and animals, when your body disintegrates, your spirit is going to be in that place of bliss and love that you are creating with your creatures here on Earth.
Wow, thank you.
Very blessed. You're welcome.
Well, and I wanted to follow up on that. I'm kind of going in a little bit different direction, but to me, it really strikes me that you chose to devote a lot of your life to animals, knowing that you would have to deal with death more often, because most of them don't live as long as we do, even after having possibly some bad experiences around that. And I think, I think it's harder on you than on the animals for sure, because you devote your time and your energy to them, And ultimately, there's not enough you can do in the end. They can't live as long as we do. And I feel like there's some lessons in that for you, that to think about, you've basically chosen a path where you have to relive this thing that keeps happening. And what do you go through every time that happens? And I'm afraid that you feel a lot of guilt, because no matter how you've given them all the love, all the care, everything they could possibly need, but you can't keep them alive forever. And so I would challenge you to kind of look at that. And I think because you are at this point where you're ready to face that, that's just a sign that you've learned those lessons and that you're ready to move on and follow your art. Maybe that's something that you felt was indulgent or something and you shouldn't do it. And this is the universe's way of telling you,
Move on.
yeah, well, you've done what you can. You've given your love. I know they all love you back. You have all the energy from all of the animals that you've had in your life surrounding you and protecting you and kind of helping you move forward, and to let go of whatever this is from the past. I feel like there's definitely something that's weighing you down a little bit. And I think that
Yeah, you hit it right on. Interestingly, guilt has come up with my counselor just recently. I think guilt is my primary emotion. That is my barrier in life right this minute. And so it's coming up here too.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel like working to release that and just remembering all the good that you've done, how much you've loved these animals, and now you have all the love from them to carry you forward. And just sorry, my animals are going crazy now. Focus on all the good things and let yourself do the art that you love and enjoy. Like, allow yourself that. Because I'm afraid you're going to feel guilty then for doing that because you're not taking care of the animals. You've already done that. You've completed that cycle. And now you have the freedom to love yourself enough to do something else that's another passion.
Makes
and
sense.
guilt is actually a very common thing. I get a lot of for readings when people come to me if animals have crossed over for whatever reasons. People feel really, really guilty. And every time I said, it is not your fault. It's not your fault. It's just like us. They have a time. It's their time. So, I mean, and do yourself, say, I forgive me. I forgive you. Just do a lot of meditations, a lot of healings for yourself. And I think that's the best thing is forgive yourself, and knowing that there's nothing you did wrong. Even as humans, when you grieve for our other loved ones, our human loved ones that cross over, we feel guilty for it. Like, I should have done this, I should have done that. But at the end of the day, it's nothing that you've done wrong. You've done everything you possibly could. And like I said, they leave the body, but they're still around you. And yes, they love you very much.
I just want to say too, it's not that you haven't done anything wrong. You've done everything right. If we've done everything right, we've taken care of them, we've loved them, they had a good life. That's how it's supposed to work. So I'm really big on reframing things. I think we get stuck on looking at things a certain way, but I would challenge you to remind yourself that you've done everything right.
And as we were saying before, you can honor their memory with your art. Your art that flows from your hand is flowing from your heart, and that will continue that connection into the other world with all of your loved ones.
Thank you.
Yes.
Lorelai, did you have anything?
I know. Well, it's interesting to me that in your eyes, because I mentioned that Carrie has server, and I'm not certain that you personally have server. So what I'm thinking is that um, you definitely have a community energy. You appreciate the community and the playfulness and the engagement together. That's sage. And then also I think that you have warrior. Someone else is wanting to join us. A moment. You also have warrior. Warrior is the grounded practical doer. So kind of like holds the foundation, you know, the logistics and the foundation. And clearly with this huge community, you've done a lot of that. And do you love to learn? Are you always absorbing information? Yeah.
I'm an educator.
Yeah. So I think you also have scholars. So what I think happened is there's someone that you had to take care of when you were younger. It may be that the adults didn't take care of things and you had to really hold everything, take care of everything, or you had to be, it doesn't quite feel like reading others emotionally as a child, but there's something about that. And it doesn't mean you can't connect and love animals as a community, but sometimes also if the humans in our life when we were little were not good to us, animals are safe.
Yes, that's a good part of it.
And so that's why I think that you've been healing this, and you know your own safety now. And there's a way that the animals, and I know that it's the ones that need so much personal attention, maybe are the ones that are a little bit of a challenge, but and in some ways it makes sense that it's them too. When we have server masking, how to say, sometimes it's like our pathway to surviving is doing extra care and really caretaking of others. And as you heal that and you know you don't need to do it anymore, you feel the burden.
Got it. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. And so it's grieving and knowing it's okay as well. She had to let them go and trusting that they're going to be good, that they've been here to help you, know that you're loved and to be with this and to discover that this isn't your way.
That makes sense with the, if I, I could go on about why it makes sense, but yes, it does really fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's your own growth that's brought about this shift. And so really celebrating and loving your journey and the pathway you've been on.
Thank you so much. And so just to make sure, how do I send the $15?
So I sent you an email. So it looked like there might have been a typo in your address. So I sent it to the what I thought was the typo and to the one that you sent me. And
so I should go to my email.
Through. Yeah, go check your email and see if that went through, and then it's a link to PayPal.
Got it. I will do that.
Yeah. And if you have any trouble with that, just email me back and we'll figure that out.
All right.
All right, great.
Thank you so much for your help.
Oh, you're very welcome. Well, so we're getting ready to finish up. We've got just a few minutes left. So maybe, thank you everyone for asking great questions. I love the diversity of the questions and the way all the practitioners got to share. Really lovely. I put in the chat, and I'll put it in the chat again if you, so it's not that far up. So there's contact information for all the practitioners if you'd like to go deeper with any of them. And they do have the discounts if you schedule from being here today. So if you schedule today or sometime in the next few days, let them know that you were here at the event. Some of them have a code. At least one person has a code in here in the chat that you want to see. And then also there's a form that, it's not that far up either. There's a form you could fill out if you'd like to be entered into a drawing for a free 30-minute session with one of us of your choice. I'll put that in again right now too. And then practitioners, again, for the recording, we'll probably have you go through and just share a little bit, just say your name, your modality, and then how people can connect with you on the web. That'll be great. And I'll say too, just for all of our events, you can find out more about all of our events at mewefairs.com. That's MEWEFAIRS.com. Some upcoming events, we've got a Metaphysical and Wellness Fair again on Saturday. I think it is, let me look at the exact times. It's from 5 to 8 p.m. Pacific time. So that's Saturday, June 6th. So we'll have about 15, 16 practitioners. We offer free talks. We do intuitive panels. So we do short, small versions of what we did tonight, where you get a sampling of feedback from different practitioners. And then you can do sessions, again, with our practitioners at the fair, or at another time we offer our sessions for a discount. So yeah, practitioners, maybe go through and just briefly share your name, your modality, and how people can reach you.
Hi, okay, I'm Dr. Jem, and I am the micro whisperer. So I work with micro spirit guides to bring messages to you from your environment or your body or your pets. I give longer readings. You can find me at microwhisperer.com. I was just going to share, I do elemental work, so I have elemental chimes that I incorporate into the blessings that we do when you do the longer reading. So I invite you to go to microwhisperer.com. Lorelai's got the information. Thank you for showing up today.
Who else wants to share? Go ahead.
Hey, I'll go. Once again, my name is Kelly Kelly Martin. I'm a pet psychic. You can find me on Pet Psychic and Animal Reiki with Kelly on Facebook. I have my own Facebook page. I also usually attend the MeWe fairs in the Washington areas, and once everything goes back into place. Also for readings, I can do. I said I don't have to be with the pet. Just tell me who you want to connect with, and I believe Lorelai put all my contact information, my email, and my phone number below. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to help you. I'm usually working my regular job from Wednesday through Saturday, so usually Sunday through Tuesday, I'll be able to do readings and so forth.
Great. And Denise?
Yeah, I'm Denise Dunleavy, and I do animal communication and animal massage, and I also do intuitive readings. You can find me at my website, which is intuitivedenise.com. My name is spelled D-E-N-I-S-E, and you can schedule directly from the website, and my information is also in the chat if you want to send me an email. I look forward to hearing from you.
That's great. And maybe one more event too that I have scheduled, I forgot to mention. This Friday from 5 to about 6:30 p.m., we have just a community connection. So it's an opportunity for practitioners and just member of the public just to gather and share. It's usually great if we share just a bit about our name, where we are in the world, but then also what are our interests or what are our gifts and how do we open to our gifts or how do we open to this interest? And usually I find it supportive in helping others open to more and more of their gifts, hearing what other people do and how they do it and how they opened.
Yeah, Lorelai, you've helped me a lot open up to my gifts by doing the fairs, and it's built up my confidence a lot. And just being around like-minded people, it really, really, really helps with my confidence. So
That is true. That is so true, Kelly.
Yeah. And I have to plug it too for my friend Mary Beckman. She's been a huge inspiration for me. She has if you don't have a Facebook page, she also has a show called Metaphysical Meltdown. It's a show. It's on YouTube. Just to type metaphysical meltdown. It's she has all different types of healers and stuff. And she's a really, really great reader and medium. And she's really helped me a lot. So,
I know her.
Yeah, she's great. Also, my friend Jeffrey St. Rose or Wizard Azanon, he does also great activations and videos on YouTube as well. And they're really great kind of cool music and artwork and so forth. I listen to a lot of that to kind of open up to my gifts. So those have been the biggest things for me.
That's great. So many different practitioners and so many different mentors, right? So it's connecting with lots of different people and seeing who's really the support for us. It's great.
Yeah. And I also have to put this out again, just because I'm still very new to this. And a lot of people think there's a certain way to do things, or you have to do it this way or not this way. Do what's ever best for you. Just because it works well for you does not mean it works well for everybody else. Some people think there's like a solid law book, how you have to heal with this hand and leave with this hand. Do what's ever best for you. We're all different. Life would be boring if we were all the same, and we all do things differently. And there's nothing wrong with how you do things. If you meditation, anything, if you can't meditate laying down, there's nothing wrong with that. If you have to meditate while running or jogging, whatever works best for you. I just have to put it out there because a lot of people try to tell me how I'm supposed to do things or how I'm supposed to be, and just do what's best for you.
I meditate when I'm swimming. I wish I could get back to it.
Yeah, I usually go swimming, but the gym's closed right now, and the waters here are too cold to go swimming.
I'm swimming in air right now in my dreams. We'll both dream of swimming again in this life.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone so much for being here with us. Thank you panelists for being here and supporting. It's a great event. Well, I'm going to take the recording and I'm going to be posting it up on our MeWe page as well. So if anyone wants to go back and listen to the answers again, that'll be available here in the next 24 hours.
Blessings, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone. And Debbie, I got your email. Thanks so much. Or your message. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So practitioners, if you can wait just a moment. I know Jem had a dash, or maybe Jem already dashed. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're very
Thank you.
welcome.